graders. Today we are starting a new standard. It is Reading Informational Text 5.1. It says, quote accurately from a text when explaining what the text says explicitly and when drawing inferences from the text. So a couple of key things in this standard are that we are going to be quoting, which I know Mrs. Smith has worked with you on. We're also going to be explaining what the text says explicitly, and that means exactly, and when we are making inferences from the text. So right now what we're really going to focus on the most are these inferences and quoting when we make those inferences, showing the proof in what we read of how we made our inferences. When writers write, they don't spill information onto the page. They leak it out slowly so readers can draw their own conclusions. In fact, that's one of the things that makes reading so much fun. The reader has to figure things out. Readers need to pay close attention to the clues in the text to make an inference. When we think about what we already know, then we can carefully consider the clues in the text, and we can draw a conclusion or make an inference. Inferring involves taking information from the text and merging it with our own thinking. So remember, we take what we read, we take what we know, and we put them together to make an inference. We use inferring in many ways. For instance, we infer to figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words. And in today's lesson, I will model how I infer the meaning of an unfamiliar vocabulary word and how to use context clues to crack the words open. If we ignore all the clues that the writer gives us, we're really just guessing, and that's not what we want to do. Okay, so for my research project, I chose to study the Titanic. I think this is a topic that fascinates a lot of people and has always had me really interested, so I think it's something I want to know more about. So here are some pictures of the Titanic, and yes, sadly enough, it did sink. Here's the article that I found and I decided to read about the Titanic. So in this article, I went ahead and I marked up the text. Remember, I put question marks where I had questions, exclamation points when I was shocked, stars for things that I thought was important, and I circled those unknown words. Today we're really going to focus on these unknown words. So liner is one of the words that I circled. So I'm going to write it right in here where it says word from the text, liner. This is where we're going to record the words that we're inferring as our vocabulary words. So I'm writing the word liner here. Now, my inferred meaning, what I'm thinking that this means, based on my background knowledge, based on what I know, and based on what I read, is that a liner is a type of ship, okay? The text clues, if I go back to the text, and I take a look at this, my clues here were that it talked about the ocean set sail. It talked about that people were on board, okay? So I'm going to type those into here. Set sail, on board, okay? So those were my clues. Now, the next thing I need to do, though, is I need to write this word in a sentence, because if I truly understand the meaning of liner, I should be able to use this word in a sentence. So my sentence is going to be, remember I talked about the cruise liner? I'd heard of a cruise liner before, so I'm going to use that to help me. So a cruise liner will sail to Mexico, or sail to, let's say, Spain tomorrow. Okay, and then I'm going to just make sure that I highlight liner here so that we know that we have used that word in a sentence. Okay, let's try this one more time. The other word I circled was captivates. So remember, I need to read around the word to find clues first. Captivates. So, a century later, the tragic story of the Titanic sinking still captivates people? You know, I feel like I've read that somewhere before. Oh, up here, look. A century after its doomed voyage, history's most famous ship still fascinates people. Isn't that almost the same? Ship still blank people? The Titanic still blank people? So it fascinates people and it captivates people. I bet that they mean the same thing. So, first of all, I'm going to put my inferred meaning in here's fascinates. I know I'm fascinated by it. Okay, and my text clues were still captivates people and still fascinates people, because the fact that it was said just almost exactly the same, that was my text clues right there. So I'm going to write that right in here. Still fast people and still captivates people. Okay, the next thing that I need to do, make that fit in this little box here, is to use the word in the sentence. Now, for my background knowledge to help me with the word captivates, remember we also need to think about what do I know about this topic. Well, like I said in the very beginning, I picked Titanic because it just is fascinating to me, and it's very fascinating to lots of people. It's just so tragic and sad, and it's something that everybody knows about history. So that just kind of makes sense that captivates would mean the same as fascinates. Now I have to use captivates in a sentence to prove that I really know the meaning of captivates. So I can think about here, maybe Mrs. Acord captivates her math students with story problems. Abby? All right, so then once you're done marking up your text, your next job is to go ahead and fill out all of the words that you circled, and you are going to put them into your Inferring vocabulary word chart. All right, have fun, guys.